Imagine launching a satellite into space, only to have it shattered by a piece of debris the size of a pea. Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, according to a new European Space Agency report, that's our reality, and it's getting worse. Hey everyone, welcome back, where we dive into space, science, and the future of our planet. Today, we're talking about something most people don't think about, but absolutely should: space junk, and how it's threatening to make Earth's orbits completely unusable. So, what exactly is space junk? Space junk, or orbital debris, includes everything from dead satellites to leftover rocket parts to tiny metal fragments from past collisions. Some of it's as small as a paint fleck, but don't be fooled by the size. Even a 1 centimeter piece, about the size of a pea, can disable a satellite or put astronauts at serious risk. In fact, back in 2016, a microscopic fragment left a 7-millimeter chip in the International Space Station's window. Smaller than a grain of sand, but at 28,000 kilometers per hour? That's like getting hit by a bullet. The ESA estimates there are over 1.2 million objects larger than 1 centimeter in orbit right now. And over 50,000 of them are larger than 10 centimeters, big enough to shatter a satellite into countless pieces. Even worse, the problem is self-replicating. Each collision creates even more debris, setting off a chain reaction known as the Kessler syndrome, a concept introduced by NASA scientist Donald Kessler in 1978, warning that space could get so polluted with junk that satellite operations become impossible. And folks, we're getting close. You might wonder, hasn't there always been junk in space? What's different now? 3 things. 1. More launches than ever. In 2023 alone, over 180 orbital launches. That's a new record. 2024, on track to break it again. 2. Mega constellations. SpaceX, Amazon, OneWeb, all launching thousands of satellites for global internet. Starlink alone plans 42,000 satellites. 3. More commercial operators. It's not just NASA and ESA anymore. Now it's private companies, universities, even startups. We're not just going to space, we're flooding it. The terrifying part? Even if we stopped launching satellites today, the debris already up there would still collide and keep multiplying. This junk doesn't just float around. It orbits at hypersonic speeds, crashing into other objects and breaking into even smaller, harder-to-track pieces. ESA says on average, 3 satellites or rocket bodies re-enter Earth's atmosphere every day. But that's not nearly enough to reduce the clutter. So, how do we fix this cosmic mess? First, ESA now recommends satellites burn up in the atmosphere within 5 years of finishing their mission, not 25. Second, we need active cleanup missions. And here's where it gets exciting. The ClearSpace 1 mission, launching in 2028, aims to be the first ever attempt to capture and deorbit a dead satellite. Think of it like a space garbage truck. Third, satellite operators must adopt collision avoidance systems, better tracking, and sustainable designs, including self-disposal systems. NASA and private firms like Astroscale are even exploring robotic janitors, with nets, harpoons, and yes, even lasers. If we fail to act, the consequences are real. We could lose GPS, satellite TV, weather data, and global communications. Climate monitoring, disaster response, and national defense would suffer. And space travel could become too dangerous. And remember, we're not just polluting Earth's orbit. We're sending missions to the Moon and Mars. Are we going to trash those orbits too? To move forward, we need global cooperation. Countries, companies, and organizations must adopt binding international rules for responsible space use. In 2023, the United Nations started working on new guidelines, but talk alone isn't enough. We need action. And us? We can support companies that prioritize sustainable space practices, because space isn't just for astronauts and billionaires. It's for all of us. Space is the final frontier, but if we turn it into a junkyard, we may lose it forever. So what do you think? Should space cleanup be a global priority? And would you trust a robot janitor to clean up Earth's orbit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you learned something new, and don't forget to subscribe for more space stories that matter. Until next time, keep looking up, and let's keep space clean.